Did you just take them off your head, or did you unplug them though?
I unplugged them.
Oh.
So I just take them off my head. Is that any difference?
I had to ask. I just had to. I just had to make sure. Dang, I wish I knew what it was.
And you're going full Bert Kreischer, dude, with the fucking AAA hat and everything.
Yeah, that asshole has multiple of the same hats as I have. Boy. He has like 3 of the same hats from the same company I got some of my hats from. Okay. Anyways, fuck it. Let's just start. We'll deal with the sound. UFC 284 recap, and then we're also going to be doing our breakdown of Blachfield versus Andrade, because now Andrade is filling in on short notice for Taila Santos, who allegedly is having some visa issues. I think she blamed it on one of her coaches, but a lot of people seem to think that it's her, because I think she has charges against her, or she has in Brazil for ripping off some people, like not paying like some coaches and some old training partners and stuff.
I think we talked about that on a previous pod, right?
Yeah, it came up.
Scamming ass Tyler.
Yeah, and I mean, none of this is official, but some people kind of more close to the Brazilian MMA media have been saying that they think it's more likely an issue.
That's crazy, because we did talk about that. That she was like scamming ass Tyler.
Yep. But the rest of that fight night card is straight
Tyler
dog shit.
Tyler is a scammer ass name too. Like, I know a couple chicks that like had a similar name. Like Zoila. They were fucking ruthless, dude.
Yeah.
For sure selling the EBT cards.
Lock the doors around Zoila, dude.
Dude, I asked her, like, Zoila, I'm leaving the room. Clap your hands so I know where your hands are while I'm out of the room. Oh, okay. So I knew she wasn't like going through my phone.
Yeah, you got to be like the Golden State Killer with a Zoila. You got to like stack plates on their back so you could hear if they.
Oh fuck! I was watching that Real Crime, that Golden State. That guy did some
horrendous, absolutely horrible. But anyways, back to MMA fighting. We are going to go deep. We're going to go deep on UFC, our UFC 284 recap.
So if you're listening, that you can call me.
I think Zoila Frosto trains around here. I think she might actually be a Fresno native. I could be wrong about that, but FTA from the area for sure. Yeah. UFC 284. We saw the consensus number 1 versus number 2. Pound for pound lock horns. We talked all about it in our breakdown for this fight. Was it what we expected? We're certainly going to talk about the scoring. We're going to talk about all of that. But in terms of what unfolded in the cage and the competitive level of it, was it like the kind of stalemate that you thought it would be, or because you picked Volkanovski to win?
Mm-hmm. And I mean, I wasn't far off. He lost, but I wasn't far off.
Okay.
And if I remember correctly, I said if he was going to win, it would be like a decision kind of deal. I didn't think he had any chance to like knock him out or sub him.
Yeah, I kind of figured it would be a tough one for him to get any kind of a finish there. It would have to be via decision. And on the night of, like we'll talk, what's the term for it? Maybe I'll stop trying to pull up terms that I can't think of right now.
Je ne sais quoi.
But no. Artie Bucco. No answering machine. Hey.
Oh man.
But
you ignore me, you cocksucker.
On the night of, we both messaged each other, and we both agreed that just coming out of the fight, right as they read the results, we thought Volkanovski won. And I do want to talk about that a bit, because it was certainly contentious. It was certainly competitive. I think that even in that moment when I thought that Volkanovski won, I mean, I certainly wasn't close to saying that it was any kind of a robbery. I thought, like, okay, I could see it for Volkanovski too. It was certainly close enough for it. What kind of tipped the scales for you now that we are a few days out, and I think we're both in agreement that Islam Makhachev won that fight?
I watched it 3 times because I just wanted to be right, and I was wrong. I think I think someone put it. This isn't my wording, but someone put it like Volk won the fight, but Islam won the match. If that makes sense, like.
Oh, I think it was Islam won the fight, but Volkanovski won the battle. Or Islam won the battle, Volkanovski won the war.
I had heard it like won the match. So like to the letter of the law, Islam won. But if it was a fight and like if it was like dudes in the street fighting, Volk was going to win that fight. Like if they didn't stop him, Volk was going to win. He was going to beat the shit out of him.
I'm in agreement, and that gets me to. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit in my notes, but my not so hot take, I don't think, is that with more time, I think Volk outworks him and outlasts him. And that's kind of
and pride rules. He wins pride rules. If that's a pride fight, he wins because I'm not trying to be stupid.
No, I know.
But like it's like who ended better. Like in pride, especially I know they like went up in different. They had different rules within cards for some of them, but I know part of their judging system was who tried to end the fight, who ended better, and I mean, that's me grabbing and trying to say, like, Mike, you fucking won, dude. Like, but
was it the second round for you that was the contentious round? Was that the one that was kind of like up in the air? Or
it was the third, because I gave Islam 1, 2, and I gave Volk 3 and 5.
Okay.
And 3 was close.
Interesting. So for me, I'm one of those fucking freaks who actually gave round 4 to Volkanovski.
Yeah.
The one.
Well, that's the one when he was like fucking hang loose and the fucking where he was in that. And let's be real, dude. He no. He won that round. Like okay, so you and I are watching it. Okay. If you and me and like Mike Teal are watching it, Mike Teal's gonna be like, fuck, he didn't do shit to this guy. He won. He was fucking hitting him. He was hitting him in the back, in the face.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, but I guess the refs are like he had control. It was in a dominant position. He ended it. And one thing too, that this is going to kind of like maybe throw our vibe or our whole thing off, but watching it multiple times, because I did the thing that I always do is like I watch it myself. I'm very reactive and emotional. It's like Volk won. Oh, what the fuck, And then I didn't watch it again myself. I watched the Weasel, and I was like, okay, Islam won.
Yeah.
And then was like, wait, did he? And then I watched it again. I was like, whoa.
You're describing
with the Weasel's eye. Okay. And then I watched it the third time, and the Weasel was not catching what he didn't catch, and what he would. I don't know if he just was rushed or what it is. Because he's end all be all for me, like all blindly. That guy goes, walk over there, and I'll walk over there. But he was not counting for it, and I think Volk is so. And this is going to sound super nut swinger, but he is a kind of a victim to his own great, like his own great style with like the false entrances, the in out, like the flash, like you just in and out, and he like like kind of fakes going in, fakes going out, so you don't know when he's but his body shots, he was landing some like boom, like quick body shots, and then out, and then Islam would like his face was like what the fuck, but I don't think if you're watching the fight, they don't look like they're hurting Islam much, but he was scoring with like some really fucking rough right hands to the body.
Yeah.
He would feint in, and Islam would put his hands up expecting like a hook or maybe like a check left, and Islam or Volk would hit him in the ribs, boom, with the right, and then back out. And he did that a lot. And I don't know if that was part of the scoring, then okay. But I know it definitely wasn't part of the Weasel scoring. And it seems like he scored it more as like how the refs did, except for that one fucking ref.
49, 46.
Get the fuck out of here.
That was a rough one.
Yeah, but I think they missed maybe his body shots, maybe just because his own style kind of maybe they weren't really paying attention to that. And but yeah, sorry I did derail it, but I just wanted to throw that in there. Like after watching it that many times, I was like, damn, he was doing some fucking damage to the body. Like he really was.
Yeah, no worries about derailing it. I did want to get into the thick of it with this card too, because I do think I watched the Weasel breakdown also, and just like you were saying, I really trust his frame by frame breakdown. He really does. He'll get into it and bean count and be like light strikes versus heavy strikes and all that stuff. But I do feel like, and it's going to make me sound crazy because I don't even necessarily agree with it anymore, and I think it's more to like it brings up a conversation about the actual rule and how it should work. But I also felt like he kind of discounted some of the work that Volkanovski did in that fourth round. And it's weird to call it work. He had his back taken. I get it. If we were talking about round control, 3.5 minutes of round control, plus Islam was getting the better of Volkanovski on the feet prior to that takedown. But my whole what I got held up on the night of was that Islam got that takedown, and he locked in that body triangle with his face looking one way, and then by the end of that round his face was different.
Way different.
It was yeah. And I didn't count every single little pitter patter strike that Volkanovski threw from that position, because I'll be real, not every one of them was effective at all. A lot of it was just like this landing with the side of the fist and stuff,
just to keep his head
just
off
to annoy him. Yeah,
but his head away from me.
I did go through and I did bean count like only the ones that specifically looked like they were impactful, because if I counted all of them, it would be something like 50 little strikes. But I'd say about 12 to 13 of them were actually with force, to where it's where he was like, oh fucker, oh got you. And like
I remember, I fucking remember, because he did even the right hand across to the left shoulder, and he got him like a few, and I was like, wow, dude. And we brought this up on this pod before, but it was like, okay, round control. I'm not sure. I think it was on a few different fights, but I know it was one WMMA fight where it was like, okay, so once you're on the ground and you're in the body triangle of one of the best Dagestani grapplers on the planet, and he does nothing to you, that doesn't count. You're just a fucking dummy. You're nothing. He's the only person that's able to score. There's nothing for defense, like keeping his hands up from under your neck, from hitting him, from like
preventing
moving position, preventing any kind of fucking forward momentum. That counts for nothing. That pisses me off. That's the one thing that pisses me off.
No, I've gotten into it with people already, because there's always the whole like, oh, for one, you're already at like the worst or the best position if you're Islam.
I think it's whenever we talk about Aljamain.
Well, the WMMA example that I went straight to was Shevchenko versus Tayla Santos, because there was also a similar round where Tayla had her back, and it was the same thing. I think she even had the body triangle, and Valentina was like, well, I'm not getting out of this, so I'm punching you over my shoulder. And they ended up giving it to Valentina, and I'm not saying that they should have scored it the same way, because
I didn't even think about that, dude. Come on.
It was almost like a total 1-to-1. But I do forget what I was going to say about. Oh yeah, as far as like the positional thing, I do think it's hard to argue, because taking the back, having the body triangle in, you could almost argue like, well, there's nowhere else for him to go, because that's already the most dominant position for Islam Makhachev, and that is true. So we can't really give. We can't really give Volk credit for not allowing him to advance position. I think we can give him some credit for defending or not allowing him to employ any submissions at all, because there was no submission attempt from that position. It was just holding on, and I think he should get. Like I said, we're both in agreement that Islam won at this point. We're not really trying to argue that Volkanovski lost or that Volkanovski won anymore, but I think that it's just it's just one of those cases where it makes the whole damage over everything and then control time that makes me bring that into question, because I never really liked that absolutism where it's like, no, because by the letter of the law, like you mentioned, it really does. It's supposed to be damage first, only damage, and you only take control time or grappling into account when damage is pretty much even. And I think that you can make a case for Islam Makhachev or for the damage in that round, in round 4, being even because of what Islam landed on the feet and what Volk landed on the ground kind of cancel each other out, and then Islam wins it on ground control. So that's kind of how I ended up justifying it and just, resting on it. But I do want to ask you though, despite the results, this was a pound for pound style like matchup here, which we don't get all too often. Who is, in your opinion, with Volkanovski, even with a loss, do you still consider him pound for pound number 1 fighter? Because a lot of people do.
No, I mean, I can see that argument, but Islam just beat the number 1 and the number 3 pound for pound fighter within 6 months.
Yes.
So what the fuck?
4 months.
Never
actually.
Happened.
Yeah.
Never happened before.
It's unprecedented.
He's beat my favorite fighter. He's beat Arman Sarukian. He's beat, so, and that doesn't fucking matter. But I think Volk's resume is like long and distinguished and amazing. I do think if the fight keeps going, he wins. He just ran out of time. It was like the Chael Sonnen thing. He just ran out of time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do think he's number 1. Because you beat the number 1 guy. So it's
I have to give it to him too. I think
and
it's
as amazing as it looks, as amazing as Volkanovski looked, and he's I am his fan forever, dude.
Oh, when he came out to Down Under, like Men at Work played,
he always comes
I was
out
like,
to
oh
that.
shit.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I always knew it was his walkout music, but in Australia, by the way, let's give the Aussie fans their flowers.
They are amazing.
Incredible.
Dude, they are absolutely amazing, because I watched a lot of like the pre-fight stuff. I never do that, but I don't know if it was like the time difference or just how my schedule worked out. And that like YouTube algorithm, they are so cool. They were so cool during the interviews. Like they gave Yair like props. They gave everybody props, even like guys fighting. Like they even gave like Randy Brown props. They were giving everybody props. And it's like, oh shit, dude. Like, and so knowledgeable. Yeah. Like when certain issue, and I think maybe because the Brazil fans were the exact opposite.
Yeah, total contrast. Like, and like the most recent like example to draw from too. They
are amazing. They are absolutely amazing. Because you could feel it through the fucking TV.
Yeah, and they had like the chants down too. Like they sounded like more like soccer style chants, or probably rugby. I'm not sure, but man, they really elevated the card. Like there are a lot of instances where I'll complain about a crowd being shitty and like having like a little bit of a negative impact on like my viewing pleasure of a card or whatever. But it's not often where I'll be like the French. It's not often where I'll be like, wow, that crowd actually made that funner to watch. I definitely got to give that to him.
I really liked it because it's like the Japanese style, like when you watch when like their breath when they do the like the oohs and the ahs when there's like and then it's mixed with the mat sounds with the like ring kind of, and you like a guy does a roll or he kind of switches position in a slick way, and then the fans are like oh, where if it's in like fucking Oklahoma City or wherever, it's just like boo, get the fuck up, stand up, but like it was really interesting to see. And I think where I first caught it was like the Luke Boomy fight, where she was doing some pretty gnarly shit, and they were like, oh, and I was like, damn, this is like early prelim shit, and these motherfuckers are like on.
A strawweight WMMA fighter like reverses a position and gets back to her feet, and they're popping off. And it's like, what the fuck? Yeah. What is this place?
Like, go off, queen. Fucking let her cook. Let her cook. It's just like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Getting back to the discussion about pound for pound and all that stuff, I did want to ask you, because we didn't really clarify it. And I think it's different for a lot of people. How do you like figure out pound for pound? What does it mean to you? Like, is it just kind of a way to compare fighters who can never fight, or do you also take into account, is it just like if they were the same size, or are we factoring in their accomplishments at their respective divisions?
I factor in the accomplishments. So like pound for pound, John Jones is the best because he's technically a fighter. Mm-hmm. He's technically in the UFC. He's technically he has a fight coming up. Mm-hmm. There's nothing you can do. There's no one. Volkanovski could be John Jones' size. He's not going to win, you know? But, I mean, he's not, though, you know? Uh-huh. But I go more off of resume.
Yeah.
For me. I mean, not fully. I guess it would be like 70% resume, probably like 20% actual skills.
Yeah, because you do have to like kind of extrapolate too, because it's like, even if some people kind of rely a little bit more on the idea that if they were the same size, but their attributes wouldn't just translate. It's because then that's cheating, because you could also just be like, well, if Ngannou was
it would have been easier. If Volk was taller, it'd be easier to take him down. Yeah. He wouldn't be as fast. He wouldn't have, you know, he has like no neck. He has no, you know, he's like an anvil. Mm-hmm. So it's like, it wouldn't, extrapolating it out and kind of making it even, it wouldn't be the same thing at all.
This is why I default to my Mortal Kombat rankings. I've never liked the pound for pound discussion. I've always thought that it was like, there's so few instances where it can actually be proven or tested, like what we got this past weekend. We ain't getting that week in, week out. So it almost feels like a pointless argument that's good to kind of fill airtime if you are doing something like what we do. You know, I've heard plenty of talking heads in the MMA space going off like at length about pound for pound, but my whole thing is the Mortal Kombat rankings is, who would you send to defend Earth in Mortal Kombat? That's the only thing that matters. And
who
you're right,
John Jones.
It would be John Jones.
Because he's a dirty motherfucker. He'll poke an alien straight in his big ass eye.
Yes, yeah, and I'm not saying that they're going to be fighting the Sub-Zeros and Scorpions. It's just the rules of Mortal Kombat. Unarmed
At
combat.
One time it was Cain Velasquez for me. One time it was like, Cain Velasquez will go. If I need someone to like protect my family and I can hire a man to do that, it would be Cain Velasquez.
Yeah. And Marcin Tabura not far behind.
Yeah, let's not forget.
Do you think that the way that this ended up playing out kind of was the best scenario? Because that's kind of where I'm at.
For the UFC, for everybody involved. Everybody involved was like, can take a deep breath and just be like, okay, cool. Yeah. Because it's reset. They can go back to their respective divisions and they're still the motherfucking man. There's no question. Mm-hmm. Neither shit the bed. Although I think Islam definitely, for who he is and what he wants to do, definitely took an L. As far as like, that was not. There is no chance in hell you can tell me that Islam knew he was going to win the fight. There's no chance in hell he thought he was going to win the fight that way. No chance in hell.
He couldn't have been super, super confident. And yeah, I got to say, like, I have to agree. If anybody kind of came up losing a little bit, even though they won, they certainly, you know, his bank account certainly doesn't feel like it lost. But Islam, I think, lost a lot of esteem and a bit of respect from a lot of fans who think that Volkanovski won, and you can tell that that's important to Islam. Like, I was watching the post-fight press conference, and he said multiple times, "I am number one pound for pound now. I am the best fighter in the world now." And he kept saying, "I don't call anyone out. Send me the challengers, only real challengers, please." And I kind of felt like he was kind of dissing the potential, like the kind of like Conor McGregor, Michael Chandlers out there who could potentially weasel their way into a title shot. But I kind of wish he would have just came out and said it if that was the case. Just call your shot. Say Beneil Dariush's name, guy.
Well, because he didn't have old boy his manager fucking ratatouilleing him.
Ratatouille. Yeah, no, it is. They should have their managers up there too.
Fucking Noah's dad.
Ali Abdelaziz.
Oh yeah, yeah, dude. Like dad. That guy's straight ratatouille trash talker, dude. So it's like, no, dude.
But go ahead.
No, please, absolutely, you go.
But yeah, I think everything ended up working out for the best. If the people who think Volkanovski won can go ahead and think he won, it was a competitive, entertaining fight.
Get an argument. You won't get a good argument from me.
Mm-hmm.
I 100% believe Islam won the fight. 100%. Like, that's kind of like a damn, bro.
Yeah,
you got it.
Yeah,
but if someone straight came to me like, Volk won, dude, this is why, I'd be like, yeah. Whoa, fuck yeah.
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 Yeah. I could sit and argue about it, and even though I don't really even believe in it, I believe it at this point, but there's still a conversation to be had about that.
For me, I'll go to the grave like I want to know if those judges counted those body shots, because they were some fucking rough. Because there was one right before he took the supposed knee that he took.
Mm-hmm.
He fucking, and then the weasel, this is the one that really pissed me off, because I was like, okay, dude, like, you're okay. He just you completely glazed over the fact that he got hit with a fucking wild ass fucking right hand to the knee, and then our right hand to the knee he got hit. Islam got hit with a wild ass right hand to the fucking ribs, and then he kind of got a knee which could have scored, could have not. And the weasel even said, I don't know, you can't really tell, but I'm going to give it to him.
Yeah.
Well, you can tell from your own screenshot that he got hit right in the fucking solar plexus with a right hand, but you're not going to give Volk that, but you'll maybe give a knee to Islam. So it's like, I think everybody kind of went in with a bias of there's no way Volk can win, so we're going to go ahead and tell you that he didn't.
All right. I like that this fight also humanizes Islam Makhachev a little bit more. And it makes me a lot more excited. I mean, I was already really excited for the title picture at lightweight, obviously, but the new level of vulnerability that he has, which isn't a ton, but it just makes me feel like Arman Saryukian, if he ever gets to that rematch, and there's other fighters. Fiziev, if he can defend the takedown, similar to Volkan, like these are intriguing matchups now. Whereas before, I was kind of feeling like Islam might run roughshod all over this division for a while. But now, who knows, man? Like he should still be a comfortable favorite, against any of the guys that he faces. But they're all live dogs if that's the case. And this is great too for the featherweight division, because we got a new contender, a new interim champion was crowned also in the co-main event. So that lines up perfectly. We know who the next guy for Alexander Volkanovski is going to be, and that is Yair "Not Reyes" Rodriguez, Pantera. He defeats Josh Emmett via triangle choke at 4 minutes and 19 seconds of round 2. Yair,
you're welcome. What? You're welcome.
Oh, you call. I saw you out of the corner of my eye, giving you little hand motions.
You're very welcome.
Yair, he looked better than ever in this fight, man. It was pretty much a shutout. We talked about the inactivity. We talked about the fact that like the Ortega fight ended early, and before that Yair hadn't won a fight since 2019. These were like my holdups, but I gotta say, man, Yair showed no signs of ring rust or any apprehension at all. He came out of the gates
like there's no chance anyone could have beat him if he's doing that, and that's the whole thing. I think we talked about it. Mm-hmm. Like when he's on, he's fucking on.
Yeah,
and that is crazy. He's a mental guy. Like, I think you really like the mental game really goes like to show for this guy, because I think he gets in his own head sometimes. I think everyone said that, like when he just kind of he tries to do the crazy thing, or he's always just trying to do the flashy. Mm-hmm. But when he fights this way, you can tell he had a game plan and he just followed it. Mm-hmm. It was so funny too, because what I do want to say, because just talking about Josh Emmett, like, if they're going to do these weight cuts, okay, they're all of them are adults that are getting paid. and they consent to the rules. They all decide to do weight cuts, but please do not make them interview right after because Josh Emmett looked insane. He could not speak. They're asking him questions. He just could not talk. He was like, he couldn't speak. And it's like, it was hard to watch.
Yeah.
And like Robert Whitaker was like, what? Like they're interviewing him and Whitaker was scared.
Yeah.
Like you could tell because Whitaker, I mean, maybe Bisping being so far detached or like so much of a commentator now that he doesn't notice it, or I don't know. But you can tell Whitaker was like scared for these people because he was just like, like kind of fake laughing. And they're asking questions to Josh Emmett, and he was like, do you remember that guy in the recent John Fetterman? Was he the senator from Pennsylvania where he had a stroke? And so like AI actually talks for him through a computer.
Oh shit.
Look it up, dude. That. Yeah, it would be way funnier if you knew the reference I was making.
Sorry.
But it's like he just couldn't. No, but it's not your fault. He's just some it's like a very.
It's technically all my fault.
No, it's not. It's like he's some senator. He's an idiot. He was an idiot before, but then he had a stroke, and he's like mentally incompetent, and they still made him run.
Oh
and
shit.
He can't speak. But anyway, Josh Emmett just could not find the words to speak. They're like, "What's your game plan?" I'm going to close the gaps. And they're like,
just
and then
cloudy.
Dominic Cruz like picked up what he was putting down. So he's like, oh, good. So you're going to kind of cut off the ring, maybe kind of let his link, kind of like make the length, the disparity on that kind of, and then he kind of like was like taking kind of what he thought Emmett was trying to say. And then you just see Robert Whitaker shuffling in his chair like, oh, this guy's going to die. And then, Della Magdalena came on, and he was literally like having convulsions, like his throat. Dude, please watch it. He was like shake his chin. He was having spasms in his neck and shoulders. Oof. And he was like shaking. Like, dude, get the guy a kiwi or a banana, dude, because he's going to die.
Yeah.
His voice was 100% different. He was trying to like keep his head up to talk, and Robert Whitaker was like, dude, get them off camera. Like, this is not right what you're doing to these guys.
I'll have to check both of those out. I saw an image of Emmett in his pre-fight press conference, but I didn't hear, and so I wasn't aware that he couldn't answer.
Struggling. He forgot what he was saying. Like in 3 seconds, he was like, they're like, well, what are you gonna do? What's the strategy going in? And then he's like, I'm going to listen to my corner, and I'm going to listen to his corner, and I'll figure it out.
Oh,
and they're like, damn. No. And yeah, so I felt really bad but it's, all of them do it. And it really sucks because Della Magdalena was in this fucking thing, and Randy Brown was fucking eating and fucking drinking everything he could. Where these guys, where you're in that state, every minute counts as far as rehydrating. Just ask Islam.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He knows what you got to do to make it count. So, so these guys had to take, 15, 20 minutes after just basically killing themselves to like answer these fucking questions when they should be drinking fucking electrolytes and eating something.
Yeah. And so that was after he had already weighed in then for the.
It was like right after he weighed in.
Oh, why? And then what the heck? I don't understand.
Yeah, they talked to Volk, and then Volk was like, he didn't cut any weight, so he was like fine. He was just talking. You know him, he's just talking.
Yeah.
And you see these guys in the back like.
Yeah, I don't know why they would even bother, because they have media day on Wednesday, so it's like, what could anyone have asked Josh Emmett on Friday that they hadn't already asked him on Wednesday? You know what I mean? Especially with a guy like him too, where no disrespect to Josh Emmett, I hear he's like one of the nicest guys in the game. Like when you actually hear him speak, when his brain isn't a fucking the Sahara Desert, he's really articulate and everything, and a polite, like well-spoken guy. But like, yeah, let's well, we'll get to what Brett Okamoto, the scoop that he dropped that I sent you right before we went live about the rehydration and everything like
company,
that.
Man.
Yeah, if this is going to be a thing that we're doing where we're putting them on the mic, right after that they weighed in, when they should be trugging Pedialyte, like you said, or just taking a fucking IV because we have USADA for a reason.
Less than 100 milliliters. So
yeah,
I mean, come on, guys.
So I thought that was an interesting development, and that is something that I forgot to mention when we were discussing Volkanovski versus Islam. But of course, I'm sure anybody who listens to this show probably has heard about Dan Hooker's accusations that Islam Makhachev had to use an IV to rehydrate afterwards, and it was pretty widely known that the UFC had banned the use of IVs because of the potential to kind of flush out your system and mask the use of certain PEDs. So that's why they got rid of that. But Brett Okamoto drops a few tweets, and let me pull that up so I can read it on air. He drops a few tweets where he outlines the fact that he took a peek in the UFC USADA handbook and found out that IVs aren't necessarily banned.
Or he was handed something to fucking say.
So it says, according to the UFC/USADA handbook, an IV can be used if it is determined to be medically justified and within the standard of care by a licensed physician and administered by a licensed medical professional. The next tweet says, I sought further clarification, and here's the bottom line. If an athlete is administered an IV of more than the permitted 100 milliliters, I think that's what it is, ml, as long as it's done by a licensed pro, it is not a violation, even in cases where dehydration caused by a weight cut is the issue being treated. In other words, IVs used to treat severe dehydration caused by cutting weight are not really banned, as long as a physician is the one to justify and perform it. And that's the end quote.
When I hear you read it, I keep thinking of that scene from The Simpsons where Smithers has a gun to Tom Jones's back and he's making him tell Marge that everything's okay. Big smile. Everybody's happy.
Just type the words, Brett.
Yeah.
So I think, to me, if that's meant to, I mean, the only reason that was done, I think, was to kind of curb to potentially catch people who are trying to mask the use of PEDs through IV flush. I don't really know how that works, but I know that's part of the reason. And I think this was also supposed to try and curb severe weight cutting, because their logic was that fighters aren't going to like straight up destroy themselves cutting weight because they know that they can't use an IV anymore, and so they'll have to kind of rehydrate by more conventional methods. We know that didn't matter, and if anything, this actually incentivizes the fighter to seriously push the limit even further, because they're basically telling you, if you redline it to the point where a physician, a doctor whose sworn oath is to keep people healthy, like they're going to be like, yes, you need to be administered an IV, and then now it's completely illegal. So it's like, what are we doing? Why are we like? I mean, call it a loophole, I suppose, but.
I think this is just very convenient that he just so happened, I'm sure he needed to look into it because it's such a big story. Mm-hmm. But when you hear Brett Okamoto, who's a great guy, does a very good job, but it's a lot like taking news from Fox News or CNN or CNBC, where it's pretty much party line. The federal government runs it.
It's a company.
It's propaganda for the machine.
Yeah.
So I think, and then it also didn't ring true to me because throughout this, before this, a lot of fighters are coming out and saying like, I've taken IVs, but I would never have a medical professional do it because they could possibly have to like give up information that could get me in trouble, and so I always just took my own. And so it's like, oh, so wait, Brett, like, what do you mean? Like, if you can just get a doctor to do it, then why are all these guys going out of their way to explain like, no, I brought my own and I would give it, I like taught myself to give it to myself, or I was banging a medical assistant at the time and she would do it for me, or whatever it is.
Yeah,
which I've heard from a few different fighters in their interviews and our podcast or whatever.
Super common. So medical assistants love getting banged on the side by MMA fighters.
It's a fact.
Yeah.
So it's just I don't understand. And I've gotten IVs like when COVID first started. I was going like county to county and all these different places, and there was like these IV therapy places, and you can just go and they give you like a crazy one for your immune system. And I was just like, dang, like this shit, I felt amazing. And I wasn't on anything. I wasn't dieting or working out or anything. I just felt so good after it. So it's like, that's cheating, dude. Yeah. If you can, like, especially for Islam, where he's already the bigger guy, and him and Habib, and they love to take that where they're just like bigger and stronger than everybody when they're in the cage. So they've cut, like Habib cut to hospitalization a lot of times, you know? So, and Islam's done it himself too in the past. So it's just very sketchy, and I'm of the camp of, if you don't get caught, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah,
I don't give a fuck.
Why even talk about it?
Good job.
Hey,
that's
Dan
part
Hooker.
Of your skill set.
Hey, Dan Hooker, you rat. Shut your fucking mouth.
Well, no, I mean, I would, if it was you.
That's his boy, like, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, if it was you and someone fucking pulled some bullshit on you, I'd call them out 100%. But also, maybe because he's from Australia and they still boot people or whatever. Again, another Simpsons reference. But like in America, where the UFC is founded, if you come out with allegations, you got to back it up.
True.
So you can't. And that's like our legal system says, like, if you're going to come out and say it, it's not what you know, Dan. You ever seen Training Day?
Dude.
It's not what you know. It's what you can prove in court.
Talking about proof, Bappa? Dude, I saw people posting pictures of Islam like before the fight and stuff. It's like just a zoom in of his arm with a red circle, just pointing at nothing. Like, I'm like, dude, this is what people are calling proof here. Like, no, come on.
And then it was said that, like, well, he had to give a blood test to USADA. That's where they do it. Dummy. So it's like, oh, well, okay, well, fair enough.
I didn't have so much of a problem with it.
Hey,
I do
Hooker,
think this should
stop running from Jalen Turner. You know what I mean?
Lead, follow, or get the F out of the way.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, that's all right. Matty Gamrot filled in for that. But let's take it back to Josh Emmett a little bit, since that the whole discussion or conversation
Terrible
about
matchup.
IVs started with him. If I would have known that he was looking that rough, I would not have taken Josh Emmett. Granted, we recorded our breakdown podcast before that footage dropped. So there's that. But yeah, Josh, he wasn't showing Yair anything new, and he was whiffing on big punches all night, which probably impacted his cardio. He never really got going. Yair kept blasting him with heavy kicks. Josh is 38. He's likely not sniffing another title shot or an interim title shot ever again. Just the lack of marketability. He really had to work and fucking and claw his way up the rankings to get this opportunity. So we're likely not going to see him again, especially the way that he lost. I mean, we're talking Yair Rodriguez via triangle choke. How many people's fucking bets or parlays did he fuck up by going for a triangle choke, man? Same with Jack Della Maddalena, dude. Like, what the fuck? If there was any bigger lock on the card than JDM by finish, by KO or TKO. But yeah, man. Yair Rodriguez looked fantastic. Not to get too far ahead of ourselves. He looked great. I'm excited. I think he has a chance to beat Volkanovski. I think if Volkanovski fights the way that he did against Islam Makhachev, where he's kind of selling every time that anyone lands on him or makes any kind of contact on him, he can seriously get fucked up. And it'll be, I'm certainly not saying that Yair Rodriguez should be a favorite in that fight, but I think he's a dangerous underdog.
Yeah. I just like I have to say like, and we can go back because we've broken down Emmett fights. I think we broke down like the Cater fight, and I'm a huge Josh Emmett fan. He's a Sacramento guy. He's a Sacramento Kings guy. That's huge for me personally. So I'm a big fan of his, but I just like when I looked at it, just as like trying to be objective, I was like, he has a snowball's chance in hell to win this fight. There's no, for me personally, I just didn't. I think he definitely could have got a looping right hand, and there it is, and fuck, like but Yair has a great chin because he took some shots.
Yeah,
he took some shots from Emmett, got some shots out.
Yeah,
and he was like, "That's it, no, that's it." Like, there's nothing, dude. It was easy work, and fuck, I mean, god damn. I think the Weasel brought it up. Like, does a beat fight? Man, God, I hope he comes back. Like, we
that would
really
be
missed
incredible,
out on
man.
Sabit Yair.
Yeah,
that would have been just chef's kiss of just crazy ass aggression that gets funneled into awesome fucking tactically sound, deployment of like just legs and kicks and just.
Oh my god! Can I get you to try and move around a little bit because I'm getting a lot of noise in.
Oh shit! You. Yeah.
I'm not sure what it's coming from or. Oh god! Oh god!
Is it worse?
That's now we're kind of back at baseline. That's
okay.
It's better than it's better than it was. Yeah. Baseline shitty. But yeah, until then, we could all hope and pray. There's been little hints that Zabit might have been considering coming back, but until then, we get to enjoy Yair Rodriguez challenging for that title. Amazing. And how about another Mexican fighter, vying for gold? I mean, he's technically already got gold in the form of an interim championship now, but now we have two
they can't Mexican win in soccer. So they're going to have to find a way to be successful in the world of sports. And he looked amazing in his hat. I think I mentioned that to you. That hat, he looked so good. I've seen guys like that at Arcos here in Fresno, Mezcal. Those motherfuckers clean up on the trim.
Killing it with the cowboy hat. Yeah, you could probably smell the cologne from down the block.
That was his dad's. Yeah. Man.
Good stuff. All right, let's move on to this JDM versus Randy Rude Boy Brown fight. This one makes it to no, it doesn't. This is a round one fight. Also, I'm getting mixed up over here. JDM fucks up a lot of people's parlays again, or not again actually, but on the night by going for a rear naked choke submission of Randy Brown. Randy looked good in this fight, up until he didn't. He was doing everything that I wanted to see from him. He was managing his distance well. He was using his kicks a lot, but he just let JDM close that distance on him. He let his back touch the cage, and then from there JDM just unloaded. And it's crazy the difference making power that Jack Della Maddalena has, because it seems like he didn't even necessarily have to land clean, and he hit him
more with the thumb area of his glove. So I was like, what the hell?
And this man face planted, it looked like it turned him off for a split second. He jumps on to put the finishing touches. He gets the rear naked choke. He's definitely going to be, I think the next time out, he's going to be a big draw. I think he's going to, the highlight reel that you could put together for this man now, just off his UFC fights alone. There's
Face the Pain. His Face the Pain segment is going to be sick as fuck.
Yes. And it's one of those deals where he is not the kind of fighter who's going to sell himself on the mic. He's not going to do it that way. The UFC needs to show that they can still promote a fighter who is just all in-ring violence. And we see plenty of...
12 grand.
Yes.
You get all that for 12 grand.
Yeah. And we see plenty of instances. Like there's highlight reel violence every single card, and people just kind of forget about it from one card to the next. But this kind of sustained domination, especially in a really exciting division like welterweight, they have to show us that they can still like put on their promotional hat and put the work in and make this guy a star. Even if you have to take him back to Australia, because this is like almost like a throwback, like Chuck Liddell. Chuck Liddell was the UFC's biggest star for a long time, and that's a much different UFC. So I don't, it's kind of a weird comparison to make. But Chuck Liddell couldn't talk his way out of a fucking paper bag. Like, I mean, there's literally interviews of him like falling asleep on the interviewer's couch, like. Whether it was, because of substances or not, who knows? Yeah. You know the video I'm talking about, right?
I do. And also, my uncle has this story, which I don't know if it's true or not, but Chuck Liddell banged some chick he had this party because he lived out in, was it like Lemoore? And Chuck Liddell banged some chick they showed up to my uncle's party. And my uncle's like, oh, okay. Like, what are you going to tell the guy? Like, get the fuck out of here. He showed up to, like, bang some chick there. And then my uncle was like, okay. And then the chick disappeared. And then he goes to his room. He's like, my room smells weird. And my comforter's off the bed. And, like, Chuck Liddell's, like, in the bathroom. And he just walks out. And he's like, what the hell? So, anyway.
Smells like MMA fighter Badussi up in here.
Yeah, dude. That smells like some fucking... ringworm up in my fucking
oh god. Well, to take it back to the fight, I don't think it was smelling like Badussi after Jack Della Maddalena got done with Randy Brown. I mean, there's not
the Jamaican smell.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot else we can say about it other than the surprising finish, going for the rear naked choke. But hey, now he's got one of those on his record. It's still a finish in the first round. Let's talk about what we see for a potential future matchup for Jack Della Maddalena, or let's do some fantasy matchmaking here. Let me pull up this welterweight division and kind of see what feels like it makes sense for JDM. I do have a name in mind already, and it's going to depend a little bit more on if they're going to kind of want to try and rocket him up the rankings a bit more, but I think it's a very winnable fight, but a good test. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson.
Oh.
And I think
I was thinking Sean Brady.
And I think Wonderboy is a really good test for him too, because I mean, we know JDM's going to want to keep the fight on the feet. That's kind of seems to be his MO. But Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, obviously we know that he can. I got to tell myself I don't need to say his.
Wonderboy's not taking that fight, dude. Sorry.
Oh, probably not. I think it would be.
Wonderboy's not taking Shafkat. He's not going to take Jack Della Maddalena. And I think like a guy like maybe Sean Brady, Muslim Salikov would be cool. Michelle Pereira, who I think he's booked.
If Shafkat wasn't booked against Jeff Hands of Steel and Neal,
they would not do that.
I would say Jeff Neal, not Shafkat.
I think he's going to fight Neil Magny. He's going to fight a Neil, but it's going to be Neil Magny.
That's so fucked up if they make him fight Neil Magny. He called out Vicente Luque,
Neil Magny's going to take it. Neil Magny's going to go, okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, where?
True. Yeah.
Where?
Yeah, you can call Neil Magny up in the middle of the night.
Dude, Li Jingliang, Jack Della Maddalena? Come on, dude.
I forget. I'm forgetting that he actually called out Vicente Luque, though, too, on the night. Yeah. I mean, Vicente Luque is on a 2-fight losing streak, so that's, for the hardcores like us, that's like, yeah, you can call out someone a little bit that's going to take you a little bit further, but in terms of a matchup, and those guys are going to try and take each other's fucking heads off. Yeah. Man. Like, that's kill or be killed, so can't go wrong with that, man. And there's a lot of guys. A lot of this welterweight division is matched up right now. In fact, I'm looking at the top 15. There's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys who don't have fights in the top 15. Jack Della Maddalena is number 14. This is Tapology rankings, guys. Neil Magny doesn't have a fight, so you're probably right about that. He's number 12. Vicente Luque at number 10 doesn't have a fight. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson at number 6 doesn't have a fight. Bilal and Colby. So, yeah, I mean, if he's going to fight up, which I think he is, you're probably right about that Neil Magny pick. It's fucked up as it is, but Neil Magny does not say no.
Like, sure.
Yeah.
Neil Magny already signed it. I already wrote the end. like the end's already like on the paper.
Yeah.
I'll just sign with the end, and then what was that? Oh dang! I keep bringing that up, but it's like the Simpsons where he's like, I'll start with the 0 first instead, and then I'll make my way to the 1. And well, anyway, whatever. But the N is already on the paper.
Yeah,
and Neil. For Neil, guys.
Yeah, the UFC loves fighters where they don't really have to do any kind of correspondence or negotiating. If they call you and then you say yes, then they're going to punish you for it for playing ball. So yeah, that's a good one. We'll be looking forward to that, and we'll be talking about it as soon as we get more JDM fight news. Okay, I am ready to shift over because we are.
Can I ask you one question because we're running low? The next card shitty. We're really only going to talk about one fight.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, one fight only.
So, Lokbumi.
Okay.
What say you on her? Because I like it.
She's great.
I'm on the train, dude.
I love
Muay Thai fighters. So.
Yeah, I think she's awesome. She is like one of the main reasons why I keep campaigning so hard. I just talk about it on my podcast that nobody listens to. But why right. I'm constantly saying,
I bang the drum.
Exactly. Why I'm constantly saying start a women's atom weight division, because I think her frame, she is made for 105 pounds, and I think she's a contender there.
There's a lot of fighters female fighters that fight atom weight that they can't get a fight because there's so many. I guess it's just like the Asian market or the Asian gals, they kind of fit that weight class.
Yeah.
They could pull talent from of gals that are kind of like in limbo of just haven't fought in years and need a fight. They could pull. There's talent in the world, maybe not in Massachusetts or like the fucking the places like the UFC normally gets.
The places where they call soda pop. Yeah, probably not as many atom weight girls coming out of that part of the country.
There's not. It's not somewhere. It's not an American weight class, but
I bet it would be a Mexican weight class though.
Yeah, there's really good gals across the world that can fit in the atom weight division. You're 100% correct.
In fact, there's a few girls who are fighting at straw weight right now who would probably fit in just fine at atom weight. Like some of the newer faces, there's that girl Super Melly, Melissa Martinez. She's a Mexican girl. She's 0-1 in the UFC, but she looked really undersized in her fight. I think she would probably benefit from. Yeah. But yes, my answer is Lokbumi. I think she has some holes in her game. She's going to run into more girls who are going to give her problems at strawweight. But I think as long as she's able to kind of keep that level of competition up, she's going to be a factor there. And
I think just from what I've seen of her, I'm very impressed. But I know if I dig a little deeper, I'll find something. But just like the small sample size that I've taken in from her, I'm very impressed with.
Mm-hmm. So let's.
Sorry, I just
all good.
Wanted to give you a chance. I know you like the gal. So
well, I'm gonna have more than a chance right now.
I can't wait for this. I've been waiting since I heard this. I was like, oh, I cannot wait to just let Kenny off the leash. Just take that muzzle off our boy here. Just let him cook here. Let him go.
UFC Fight Night. Andrade versus Blachfield going down in Las Vegas, Nevada. We have Erin Blachfield coming off of her just crushing win over Molly McCann, which was just about 3 months ago. She's going in there against Jessica Andrade, who, let me check her record. How far long ago was it that she
3
just
weeks.
Beat the piss out of Lauren Murphy? Yeah, less than a month ago, about 3 weeks, she beat the absolute snot out of Lauren Murphy from pillar to post for 3 rounds of just straight one-way traffic violence. The only reservations I would have about Jessica Andrade coming into this fight on short notice like this, because like as we mentioned earlier, the original opponent was supposed to be Tyler Santos for Erin Blachfield. That was already going to be a very, very big test and a big jump up in competition, because people were talking about Tyler Santos should be rematching Valentina Shevchenko. A lot of people thought she beat Val. Instead, she was slotted in to face the up and coming prospect Erin Blachfield, who is 10-1 in her in her professional MMA career now, undefeated inside the UFC. Now, because of Tayla Santos's apparent visa issues, she's getting thrown in there with a fucking shark. Jessica Bate-Estaque Andrade, that stands for pile driver, and I think the nickname is earned. Jessica Andrade has literally 3 times the experience as Erin Blachfield. Jessica has 33 fights total, and Erin has 11. I am not a person. I don't discount experience, and I think that Jessica's experience here, among other things, her raw physicality, her power, what she has in the way of wrestling, takedown defense, is straight up intimidation. I think that's where not that the
she could hold Erin Blachfield down and do whatever she wants to her. You know,
I don't think she wants to do that. I disagree. I think she could keep Erin Blachfield from getting her down, and I think she would terrorize Erin Blachfield on the feet. But I think Erin Blachfield still has a pretty clear route to victory, but she needs to do it perfect because.
Let's hear it, because I was going into this like, there's no way she has a chance. So I wanted, but this is what I wanted, because I'm so happy I'm on the podcast with the right guy. So please, like, school me, because I'm ready to learn.
To be clear, I'm picking Jessica in this fight. I think this is too much, too fast for Erin Blachfield. I think that she's going to have trouble getting the fight to the floor. But if she does get that fight to the floor, I do think that it could be, she could wrap it up and get out there and make it a short fight. Because for as physical and athletic and strong as Andrade is, she doesn't have the best like scramble once she's already down. Like in terms of getting back up to her feet, she's really tough to take down. I think Lauren Murphy was like 1 for 9 or something on her takedown attempts for Jessica Andrade. So she's hard to take off of her feet. But once she gets there, I mean, Valentina Shevchenko put her in a crucifix and elbowed her into oblivion and got her out of there. And the crucifix is Erin Blachfield's bread and butter. And Erin Blanch, I mean, this is the only thing I'll say Erin's better at than Valentina, and that is in the grappling department and specifically top control from that position. I think if she gets her down, like, she can do it, but she's definitely the underdog, and you definitely want to put your money on Jessica Andrade here, man. Because, man, if she doesn't get it down, I would like to say this is one of those instances where as long as Erin Blachfield can do well, even with the loss, you know, she has so much potential that she's going to remain a factor. And that may be true, but there's a lot of potential that she does not do well if she can't get Jessica down. And this could end up being an ugly, ugly fight, man, because, man, the things that Jessica does to someone on the feet when they don't have the rhythm, when they don't have the instincts. I'll hand it to Erin Blachfield for being a dog. Like, she's willing. It's probably another problem because she is willing to engage. You know, this is not a fight where she needs to come out here and test her hands, because in-cage experience is also important too. You want to, like, against JJ Aldrich, Erin Blachfield was testing her boxing, and she found out it wasn't working, and then she decided, okay, I need to resort to my submission game, and she got it done that way. There is no testing your hands against Jessica Andrade in this fight. Sorry, go ahead.
No, absolutely not. I'm thoroughly enjoying this. What I see when girls get in trouble with Andrade is they're just bouncing around a little too much. They're trying to be cute, like, kind of like making, like, this is what it looks like. I've seen this on tape. I have to move. I have to jump. And then they don't realize that she's cutting you off. She's kind of cutting the ring. She's making the ring smaller. She's feinting you into the corner. And then you're just like, oh, that's the cage right there. And then she's just like that. In, out, boom, 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 boom.
I think they watched the tape of Joanna beating Jessica Andrade and think that, oh, movement is the key. I got to stick and move and stick and move. And sure, that works. But if you're Joanna,
champion Muay Thai practitioner, but
But if you are Erin Blachfield, who's had like 6 amateur kickboxing fights or possibly Muay Thai fights, and you credit to her, she throws straight punches. She has a sneaky high kick, but it's in the defense where she has she's a liability, man.
And it was I remember like in a Muay Thai class, there was a guy who you could tell he watched, and it was a class that I was in. You could tell he watched a lot of it on YouTube. So he did he'd wipe his nose. He had like the head bounce, and he did the the knee, and then like kind of like he was like tap dancing, and like he kind of was like hyperactive,
right?
And he looked great.
Yeah.
And then, but he didn't realize, like, when he was in there with someone who did it a lot, they were like, "Oh, you're not moving the right way doing that though. Like you're walking right into my right hand, or you're walking right into the corner. Like, why are you look really cool doing it?
Yeah.
But
you don't know what any of those little movements are actually for.
You don't know why what they're for, right?
Yeah.
And so not to say that Erin Blachfield is a savant. She is a savant in what she does, and there's a reason why she's in this fight.
Yeah. Eddie Bravo Invitational winner at like 17, in a tournament with like a lot older.
Yeah, you don't get to that without being a savant and being amazing at what you do. And so I'm not trying to say she's the same. I'm not saying that, but like it gets to levels. There's also levels of thing, like just in life. And so I just hope that, I think if you gave her a full 6 to 8 weeks, she'd be, but I think maybe she's gonna be like, I know I have to move. I know I can't stay on the center line. I know I can't keep my head in the same place, or I'm going to get hit hard. Well, the gal that you're fighting with wants you to do that because you're going to create that power for her. She already has wild power. And if you move the wrong way and she anticipates it, you're going to get hit a lot harder by just kind of, I don't know. You can probably give a better breakdown of it than that, but
no. I mean,
the one place it scares me.
Everything I know about Muay Thai, I learned from Bruce Irving and Tekken. So no, I'm definitely not the one to kind of break down the finer points of Muay Thai. But also, it's one of those situations too where we can't. As much as I've been so Erin Blachfield centric about this fight because I'm a big fan of hers and I was excited for her, this fight with Tayla Santos. I was very excited for this fight. Yeah. I can't discount like the fact that Jessica Andrade knows what she's dealing with in there too. She knows, whether it's a short notice fight or not. I'm sure she's aware.
She has a lot of Muay Thai fights too, right? Like amateur Muay Thai fights and just straight Muay Thai fights in Brazil. So those guys go off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is a pretty much textbook striker versus grappler fight, but Jessica Andrade is not a bad grappler by any stretch of the imagination. I know I mentioned that she's not as adept at getting up off of her back when she's already down, but she has defensive wrestling that'll take her far. And we've seen
she's just so much stronger than everybody.
Plenty of it, yeah. I mean, and we've seen it in like slamming Rose on her head and knocking her the fuck out too. So like she has that. Like if she wants to take the fight down on her terms, she's more than capable of doing that. Also, exciting. I like situations like this when a fighter dares to be great, though, and we just kind of talked about that with Volkanovski, like going up and challenging. And I think that I do get a little bit more confidence from Erin's mentality in this, in that she doesn't seem flustered by anybody or anything, and she does kind of seem like she has a real like a practical like application or mindset. And when I've kind of like heard her breaking down matchups with other people, and also like in contrast to some of the other girls in this division who either actively ducked Erin Blachfield on the way up, like the Macy Barbers and stuff like that. And then we got she's in the fight now, but Alexa Grasso was pretty much in a position to be the number one contender, and she didn't really exactly go for it. She kind of said like, well, if the UFC wants me to, but I wouldn't mind another fight. Erin ain't about that. She's like, nah, I'm gonna come in. I'm gonna get the experience while I'm young, because that's when I'll be able to do something with it. And I think it's smart. So I'm just hoping she doesn't get completely blown out of the water, because it won't take long for the more casual audience to forget about Erin. That's for sure. And there's just also the likelihood that there's not that many people that are going to be watching this card, because it is just not giving a lot for people who tune in for the name value, man.
Yeah. Myra Buena Silva, what do you think? I mean,
I think it's interesting that only in the women's division are anybody on this card ranked like within the top 15 of any other divisions. Everyone else is like outside of the top 30. I think there's like I think OSP is ranked number 30. And
his grandfather ranked though. He's like created, like, you have a choke named after him. Mm-hmm. So it's like,
hear me out, and this is a legitimate hot take.
Okay.
I think Erin Blachfield has a better chance against Valentina than she does against Jessica Andrade.
Yes. No, that's not a hot. Wow. Yeah, you're right.
So yeah, so I was I was very stoked. I was like, you just got to get past Talia, and you have an opportunity to fucking shock the world.
Yeah.
And now this, dude.
Yeah, damn, it's a tall order for anyone. Yeah. Anyone. And I think if we were going to what we're talking about, like pound for pound, if you just like put Andrade in like a lot of people's bodies, male, female, whatever, she could be, if we did it based off of just if all weight and everything was the same, she should be in the pound for pound discussion. But that's not how it works. You know, this is not how it works. But
yeah. What would you put her in, just WMMA pound for pound?
She's top 4.
I agree. I'd have her about top 5, top 4, top 5. Yeah.
Yeah, top 4. She'd be like my number 4. It would be Amanda Shevchenko, and it'd be Shevchenko, Weili Zhang, Zhang Weili, and then Andrade should be right there.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's my breakdown for this fight. We will be back to recap it, and on the next episode, I guess we're probably going to talk a lot more news.
There's going to be some dick riding in these next couple weeks. I am excited.
That reminds me, I did have the page pulled up for UFC 285, Jones versus Gane, taking place at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada. Let's kind of like do an early preview of
That's
this
in
card,
March,
man.
right?
March 4th, yes.
Oh, awesome, dude! Because I have a I was like, my girl was like, remember, the birthday's on the 25th, and then I was like, the fuck? I had that moment like Dumb and Dumber. Remember when he's taking a piss and then it says like be here at 4 o'clock on stall 4 at 4 p.m. and then he like looks at his watch and then he's like, what the fuck? Because I was like eating like, I'll be there, I'll get the cake, and then I was like, wait a minute, and then like something made me think of John Jones, and I was like, no.
My friend of mine messaged our group chat a little earlier, like a couple hours ago, and was asking everybody what we're doing on March 4th, because he wanted to know if we would be down to get together for like a little birthday hangout for him. And when I looked it up to confirm I saw this, I just straight up no.
My grandma something.
I told him, listen, there are fights that I can't miss that day. I am willing to. Yeah. I'll show up to wherever you're going to have your hangout, but I will be watching fights on my phone the whole time.
Like
it's just non-negotiable.
Simpsons again. Remember when Apu went to that party? And he ate the hot dog all fast. He like jumped in the pool and then like banged the chick and then left for like 5 seconds.
Like that, yeah. Give me my 6-piece fucking bone-in wings, please. Yeah, UFC 285. At the top of the card, the man you're going to be ball washing for all of late February and early March, John Jones, finally making his heavyweight debut against Cyril Gane. In the co-main event, Valentina Shevchenko defends her UFC flyweight championship against Alexa Grasso, another Mexican vying for gold there. The official debut of Bo Nickel coming off of his Contender Series fight win against Jamie Pickett. That's happening in the middleweight division.
Still Knox?
The return of the boy Still Knox, dude. Mateusz Gamrot filling in for an injured Dan Hooker against Jalen Turner. That's going to be a fucking banger at lightweight. The dark horse, our boy Shavkat Rakhmonov, locking horns with Jeff Hands of Steel Neal. We're high on both of those guys. That is number 8 versus number 6 fight at welterweight, dude. That's a fucking good one, man. Shavkat, he could be a fucking title challenger by the end of this year. Viviane Araujo versus Amanda Ribas on the undercard.
Tabitha Ricci.
We're even opening up the card with Cody Garbrandt versus Trevin Jones, dude. Someone's gonna fucking die then.
Yeah. I'm excited, man. This is, and I think a lot of people talk shit about UFC, like, what's up? Where's the quality card? They're not stupid. So all of a sudden, okay, basketball's in the lull part of the NBA. NFL's done. College football's done. Baseball hasn't started yet. Now March is gonna be wild for fucking the UFC. Yeah. Like, it's going to be wild, and they did it on purpose.
Yeah, and still, this is it's all going to be a steady stream leading up to International Fight Week, where they're going to put on their Sunday best, man. Is this a card you are interested in potentially trying to get together to watch?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, please.
Yeah, because I told my friend Chris, I was like, hey, we're doing the 3rd. We're hanging out on the Friday, so I kept it open. Let's do that, man. We'll maybe even consider doing a live in-person for the first time ever post-show recap episode. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe Mike wants to join, and then maybe we party like classic John Jones.
Yeah, dude, let's go. Let's
the
go
mood should strike.
Playing in the snow. Fantastic, man. Well, it's been another good episode. We'll be back next week. Like I said, not 100% sure what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be breaking down or recapping that main event, and then we'll just be fucking shooting from the hip, spitballing, and talking about whatever's in the MMA news. Patiently waiting for UFC 285. I think there's another card between then. There's a Tatiana Suarez fight coming up. That's
right.
But
there was one announcement I thought but I mean, obviously,
Drew Dober saying that he's potentially...
Drew Dober, Paddy Pimblett,
which isn't official yet, but Drew Dober has posted a shot of them, like a Photoshop of them staring off and insisting that might be a thing that they're looking into in Before the Duck. That'd be a cool fight. That'd be a dope fight. I'm certainly favoring Drew Dober if that happens. Kind of surprised that that's the direction they're going, but if the UFC wants to put over Drew Dober, I mean, this is the way to do it. Put him on a main card, make it happen.
And Bryce Mitchell got a fight. He's fighting in May. So.
Oh, do you know who he's fighting?
Jonathan Pierce, JSP.
I'm glad he's not I'm glad he recovered from that loss, because he was talking like he was ready to potentially retire. Hey, stop chewing that, Beans. Sorry, my cat's fucking chewing my fucking home decor. I'm glad he's back, because he sounded straight up depressed after that Ilya Topuria loss, man. Yeah,
that was sad.
Yeah, the featherweight division needs you in your camouflage shorts, Bryce Mitchell.
Right.
Stick around.
Oh yeah.
All right, Brandon, thanks for joining me again. Everybody, if you liked that episode, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, comment, ring the bell. Don't miss any of our future episodes. And we will see you on the next one, folks. Have a good one.
Islam Makhachev is a fucking dirty cheater. You're not going to change my fucking mind.